Okay, this would be part 2 of this shot. Excuse me. And at this point we need to do some paint, as well as Luca's mouth, which should be pretty easy. So we'll just call this mouth. And let's insert a key. And we'll start at half a second. Just zip in here, and I'm just going to hand tool this. And we're going to, as usual, use kind of the conventional anime style lip sync. I'm doing on 4s. Actually, let's turn on the B. Just tighten up that edge. Now I want it to be looking like he's demonstrating a lot of enthusiasm. He's saying, gee, I can't take him anywhere. Boom. Okay, let's save that. We'll turn the onion skins back off and just make sure things are working. Gee, I can't take it. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we have a little bit of an issue here because I've got the frame rate set to 8, and that needs to be jutted back up to 24, which means Monkey's going to be moving here really fast, but that's okay. So he says, gee, I can't take him. Okay, yeah, so now we got to increase. Let's see, we're going to go, gee, I can't take him anywhere. 4 seconds, 4 times 24 would be 96. So let's make our whole animation 96 frames. Save our work. Gee, I can't take him anywhere. Gee, I can't take him anywhere. Okay, so we don't have enough mouth shapes in here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 2, 1, 2. I'm going to do this. Gee, I can't take him anywhere. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so let's save that. And so now his mouth is done. We can just turn the mouth layer off. And now let's get Luca inked and painted. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go to the characters. And here's Luca's color key. We'll just drag this in here as a new layer. And then I'm going to just kind of go over here like this. Just move it basically out of the way. Like that. And now for this one we can do it in behind mode. And we're going to go color, color. Oops. Wait a minute. I'm in the wrong layer, I bet. I am. There we go. Okay. Color, 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 color. Boom, boom, boom. And there's his cloak. That went well. His belt. There's his fez. Okay. So now we will, since we're already in behind mode, that means we can't really make a mistake. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of a shadow region there, and then what I'm going to do also is take a big brush and just kind of do some scribbles so that if there's any erroneous unfilled spots, in this case it doesn't matter much because the background's so dark that it's not like there would be light spots peeking through. Okay, we're not going to deal with shadows yet. Okay, so therefore Luca can be turned off. As far as the soldiers go, let's kind of go back here. I'm sorry, not here. Let's go to the storyboard. And let's look at probably this would be good. Yeah, so we're just pretty much gonna swipe and just do a print screen on that and paste it in here, and that way I can sample that color. And now let's go over here, and we're still in behind mode, so we should be able to go boom. Nope, that did not work, my bad. There we go. And really the only color from the soldiers that we really need to swipe here is the leggings. Now I'm going to say I have not yet dealt with the wraps, so I'm just going to say we're going to make them slightly darker, and then let's go back here. And fortunately we got a little bit of flesh tone, but that's going to be in shadow, so let's just kind of brighten it up a little bit, and I think in this case we're going to be pretty safe. We're just dealing with the guy's foot, and the shadow the shadowing that we're going to add will sort of take care of the fact that it's obviously too light. Okay, and now again I'm just going to kind of find a neutral color here. Since we're in behind mode, it's impossible to screw it up by painting over anything. And the fact that I just colored his toenail, I don't really care about that. So again, this is where behind mode is kind of fun and useful, because it protects you. Okay. So there's that. So that means we've got everything colored except monkey. So let's save that. This layer that we used as a guide can be deleted. Save our work. And now let's see what we have on monkey. Let's actually go to the characters monkey color key. We'll insert that as a new layer. And all we're going to do now is get monkey's body colored in. Okay, so we're going to go fill. Okay, that didn't work. That's kind of strange. It's the second time that's happened now. Oh, well. Yep, there we go. That's our color. And now we're in solo mode. We are in behind mode as well. Okay, so we got the same key twice. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some judicious coloring on his feet manually. Okay. So I'm going to get them mostly colored in here, and then we'll go back and fix things. Fill. And, okay, so here, we probably should turn on, well, I guess we'll just do this. Turn that off. Okay, yeah, so we have a bit of a problem here on monkey's final frame. Let's take this, poke it through right there, and then in the monkey layers, because this is going to be behind Luca, we'll just go like this, like that. And then we can fill that. In this case, there's a fair amount here that's not going to be that color, so in this case we'll go ahead and be a little more careful. Yeah, and frankly, his ears are supposed to be... We better take a look at this. Oh no, okay, I'm wrong. His ears are... Well, yet another example of why it's good to check your color key. Okay, so what I really need to do is put monkey down here below Luca ink. And the silhouette should be on top. The legs, frankly, if you think about it, not that it really matters in this case, but the legs should be in the back. Okay, so let's go back to monkey, fill operation, and now let's go back. That's actually a little sloppy, but it's not going to matter. It will not matter a whit. Let's solo the layer. Okay, get this. I'll come back and fix that one glitch afterwards, because basically I don't want to change color right now. That's behind mode. So yeah, and again, I'm just gonna get through the whole thing, and then I'll go back and fix things. Okay, so that's it. Alright, so now what we can do, let's sample this color, fill that. Okay, and we're gonna cheat a little bit here and not worry about the flesh tone yet. Okay, so now I tell you what we'll do is let's work backwards, just because the final frame gives us the, actually, by the way, we need to, come on now. Okay. Now I'm going to go into normal mode. And like I said, work our way back. But first thing we're going to do is grab that color. Okay. And probably I could zoom out a little bit. Okay. I didn't mean to be in multiply mode. I meant to be in normal mode. Remember, this all happens really fast, so just a little bit of suggestion of the I don't even like that. I think just the tiniest bit there will be okay. Here, we'll go ahead and do that, and just a little bit here. Just a little bit. Okay, let's grab this color again. 2, 3, 4. Little fix right there. Okay, and this is obviously pretty badly botched. We're almost done. Again, bearing in mind that the background is really dark in this shot. So let's save our work. And now what we need to do is we need to put monkey's action on 3s. So so basically we'll move this forward to there. And now let's just start jumping forward on 3s. Okay. We'll put that there, and then I think we're just gonna guess. Okay, unsolo. And since all the color's in there, we can go ahead and turn on the background for what it's worth. We still need the fire, which is going to be a lot of fun to do. Save this. And obviously we still have to do shadows. Okay. Let's turn on Luca's mouth. And here's our animation. Let's look at it at full size. Gee, I can't take him anywhere. Yeah, that works. Okay. So let's not deal with shadows until after we've dealt with the fire. So the fire, the basic issue with the fire, I think I hit it. I've actually had to create the fire in several different scenes. So I'm going to pull up the most recent open tunes and show the technique I've been using. It seems to be working pretty well. So let's go to the storyboard, go to the end, and it would have been this one, 756.tnz. So it turns out, there it is. Okay, so this shot, this is basically what happens afterwards. So we're going to have this shot. He says, I can't take him anywhere. Then the soldier's like, listen, kid, beat it. The more kindly soldier's like, you know, he's right, kid. You're the mood the prince is in. He's liable to arrest you. And Luke is like, oh, well, thanks. See you later, guys. You know, and you know, knowing full well that Mel and Tianara are hidden right on the other side of the bushes. So that's this shot is. See you later. And I love that shot. But what we were focused on is the fire. So basically, let's go to N key for full size. And you can see we just basically have these smoldering. We just have the smolder. I'm going to actually take a screenshot of that, because why am I going to redraw that for no good reason? When I can take this, size it up to about like that. Then just grab this whole area here like that, and then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-I to invert the selection and then hit delete. And so now we've created the smoldering, but what I'm going to do is also crank up the contrast, because obviously it looks like it's really not bright enough. Oh, sorry, my bad. I need to re-invert. And I need to really remember the hotkey for this. Control M. So, alright, going to train that. Okay. So that's fine. That looks really good. Like that. Okay, so there's the fire pit, if you will. And so we're going to move this above, and we're going to change the name of this to smoke. And then you'll see how I did the smoke. It's worked out. I've had to do it, like I said, several times, so it's worked out pretty well. But let's just do the fire here, and then let's grab a color that's going to be pretty darn dark. Yeah. We just want to get a little bit better indication here of the kind of the edge of the fire. And frankly, gosh, you know, if I really was going to be strict about it, I'd actually have some. You know, we want to be engaging in good practice out in the wild, which means we really ought to have some rocks around the fire pit. So let's just go ahead and do that, just because we can. So you got that's a little too extreme. Let's just crank the opacity down so we can dial it in a little more carefully. Okay, so you got these rocks, and then what we want to do is, let's just sample this color, and nope, that's too bright. Well, you find that when you dial in opacity, you have a lot less latitude with lights than you do with darks. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's just kind of say we're happy with that. All right. It's not as if that's going to be a center of attention. Okay, so how are we going to do the smoke? The way I did it in OpenTunes was, and obviously this brush is going to be a little different, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control Insert, I'm going to put in a key, and then let's go ahead and put in some smoke. Let me see here. Yes, okay, that's what I thought. This guy's legs need to be behind there. Okay, so now this brush is not the greatest. Ah, wrong layer. Okay, smoke. Sorry. Okay, that looks good. Okay. All right. So again, that's not like amazing, but here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to go forward on on threes, and then what we're going to do is both stretch it a little bit and raise it a little bit. Okay. Then fill this back in. Oh, that's a little strong. Okay. Stretch it a little bit, raise it a little bit. So I'm going to do this maybe I'm going to say maybe 6 times. And that has proven to be a pretty good way to create cartoon smoke. One more. Stretch. Raise it a little bit. Okay. And then what we're going to do, I'm just going to repeat this. Boom. Okay, my suspicion is that that's probably going to look pretty good, but let's save our work so we're not getting any crashes. We don't want crashes. Look at that. Looks great, and we can dial the opacity in. So actually, if it was fully opaque, this is what we'd get. And we don't really want that. We want something more like that. I wonder if this was in additive mode, what that would look like. Let's just look. Definitely not. So let's just do normal mode. And just kind of dial it until it sort of looks right. And then we'll assume that it'll probably look right when it's in motion. Okay, feels pretty good. Now, I'm going to bring something up here that I'll save my work and tell you guys that one of the things I've complained about with Krita over the last year is the fact that in the animation, if you use a transform mask in order to do a transformation, common reason would be to restage. Like, I've got a complete animation, now I want to take the whole thing and size it a little bit or position it a little bit. What I found was you would get this artifacting where pieces of your image would just disappear when it tried to do the calculations. What I kind of stumbled on today, it just kind of hit me when I was not working, that being that a filter mask or a transform mask is in fact a mask, I thought to myself, well, what happens if you take a group of layers, some of which are animated, but before you do a transform mask, you put one layer on top of it that's filled, completely filled with white, and then you put it in multiply mode. Now, as far as the mask is concerned, your area that you're operating on is the entire screen no matter what, as opposed to deriving some kind of mask from the image content. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to try this process here and see if it works. Okay? And this is a complicated situation. So that's why I'm going to save my work one more time. I'm going to really try this and see if I can get away with it. So I don't want to move the background, but literally everything else I want to move to the right. So I'm going to take all those other layers and group them. Okay? So now the only things that aren't part of the group are the legs and the background. So here in the group, what I'm going to do is add one extra layer. And I'm going to take that layer, I'm going to solo it, and I'm going to fill it with white. And all I can say is, to the extent that I've tried this, it has worked. And it has allowed me to avoid glitches. Now, one of the assumptions, by the way, with using a transform mask on animated content is you're assuming that you're going to make the move and then do this right here, merge the group. And what you find is that if, for example, you applied a transform mask to a layer and then you did flatten layer, okay, it would be flatten layer. Okay, if this had a transform mask to it and you did flatten layer, what I've found is that that's prone to give you artifacting where pieces of your art just disappear. When I do merge group, which is instead of taking a layer that's got a transform mask on it and flattening it, instead you take those two, put them in a group, and then merge the group. Tends to give you much less artifacting. What I'm doing right here, I found works even better, which is I'm going to add a transform mask, and then I'm going to take this white layer. So what I'm assuming is that Krita sees the area, the masked area, as being everything because it's filled and it's white. And I can put this in multiply mode so that it doesn't actually affect what I see. And after I make these adjustments, I can go ahead and just delete the transform mask. Now, I mean not the transform mask, the white layer. Just so you know, in this case, this isn't quite working as well as I hoped, for the reason that because this is in a group, it's a compositing group, therefore the white layer is being multiplied over everything except the legs and the background. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So just to make it so I can see what I'm doing, I'm just going to turn the group down to semi-transparent. Hope that made sense. Okay, so now why did I do this? Because I actually want to take this and holding the shift key, I want to take everything and shift it. Okay. I hit enter, and if my earlier experience holds true, then hopefully when we hit the play button here, everything is going to work. Alright. Let's take the chance and see if it works. Okay, so it's really having to regenerate the cache. Now there's a lot of animation frames. You've got monkey, you've got the smoke, you've got Luca's mouth. So hopefully we're not going to get a crash. We might get a crash, but with the way I've been working lately, see, look at that. No crash. Okay, that's interesting. The second time around, it's choking on calculating the transform mask. Okay, so now the basic problem that we have here that makes this situation more complicated is that I really don't want to flatten the layer, and I don't want to lose all my layers at this point. What I could do, however, is make a duplicate of this group, and then as an experiment, let's go ahead and turn this layer off, and let's merge the group. And so you'll see, normally when this happens, you'll see it calculating. You'll see this go broop, 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 broop for every single frame of animation that's got to have the transformation applied to it. In this case, I'm not seeing it over and over again. However, it would seem to me, yeah, basically, okay, so right now Krita is not responsive. So it's still calculating, because think about it. If it was done doing whatever it's got to do, there would just be one layer. The whole group would be summed into a single layer. And it's definitely looking like it's puking. So I would say this, doing transform masks safely in the manner that I was describing would be much smarter to do on a single a single animated layer at a time. In this case, this will be interesting to see what happens when we hit the go button. Yeah, and it looks like it completely destroyed it. So don't put any stock in what I said, apparently. Alright, so probably in this case, I hate to do it, but in this case, to get things back to normal, it would be easier just to reload the thing. I was hoping I'd be able to demonstrate that, but 752. Okay. So we'll go back here, and what we'll do is we'll make these modifications one at a time. So first of all, the silhouette, I'm going to move slightly over. Okay, that's not an animated layer, so that takes care of that. This is the monkey color guide, so we can get rid of that. Okay. Luca, mouth, and monkey. Let's group them, and then we'll do our trick and see if we can get away with it. Actually, let me think about this for a minute. See, when I did this before, and to be fair, let's remember this would be infinitely easier to do in OpenTunes. Infinitely easier. But just for fun, we'll give it a try. Alright, whoops. Okay. No longer soloing that layer, and it needs to be in multiply mode. Okay. Let's add a transform mask. And we're going to take the the free transform tool. We're going to scooch this over until Luca's roughly centered. Okay. And now we're going to let's just take that out. I see, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and play it and see what happens. Okay. Kind of sort of worked. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit the stop button. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate this layer and merge this group. So what I'm doing is I just made a copy of the group just as a backup, so that when everything goes haywire, I still have a way to get things back to normal, hopefully. Alright, so we've got Luca with his... Okay, so... it worked. Luca and Monkey. Okay. I'm getting rid of the group. I'm going to commit. Now, fire and smoke. We're going to do the same thing. Let's add a transform mask. And this is actually the main reason I wanted to do this change, is so that... let's see if we can stretch this a little bit that way too. Okay. And now we're going to take a really crazy chance here and merge the group. So I'm not doing the mask thing with the white. I'm just going to do a merge group. And you can see what it's calculating is because there's all these keyframes for the smoke. Over 96 frames every third, so you're talking about something like over 30 keys. I don't know how many times I recopied it actually. I guess it would have been 612. 612, 24, 36 spread over 3. So yeah, it's about 110 frames long, even though the animation's only 96, but it's going to calculate all those. So this will take a little time. It's still working. But, like I said, the merging a group is a much safer and more effective way to use a transform mask over an animated sequence. Another thing you can do is if you have actually got all of your animation keys just in separate layers, and so you're not really even using Krita's animation timeline, you're just kind of doing it the old school way where you create your animation as a bunch of layers. If you do that and you put the layers in a group, you can apply a transformation to the group and it will cleanly translate all of the layers just fine. It actually does a really good job of that. So unfortunately, this is a bit of a time-consuming procedure. It'll be interesting to see if it actually is clean when we're done. Will it be clean? There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing until it's too late. But we'll know when it's done because we will no longer have the group with 3 layers inside. We will just have a single animated layer. So come on Krita, don't let me down. Yeah, so like I said, the same thing in OpenTunes was much simpler. So what this is, that's kind of interesting. Well, it did work, except for this. Okay, I'm not even gonna try to figure out what happened there, and I don't really care. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw a big loop around it and hit the delete key. Now this is gonna be pretty fast. I'm gonna go next key, boom, boom, boom. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so yeah, that's a little painful to have to do, but okay, that's it. No big deal. So now we've successfully reframed our shot. So it's not that, you know, it's necessarily desirable to do so in Krita, but at least you can if you have to. And by the way, here I am going to 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do here is actually 5. Zoom in here, and that's definitely not the brush we need. to have monkey do a little blinky blink when he pops out. So this is technically a little messy, obviously, because the mouth keyframes and the monkey movement keyframes are, it's, you know, conflated. It's all on the same level, or layer, I guess we would say. Okay. Now what we're going to do is G. Do we want to deal with shadows? Well, we have to deal with shadows. So therefore, we're going to put Luca and Monkey in their own group. And we'll call the group Luca and Monkey. Just keep things clean and simple. We're going to put, now the fire we don't need to deal with. But we'll just call this fire, even though we know that it's actually fire and smoke. The legs need to be in a group so that we can give it a shadow, and we'll give this a shadow instantly using inherit alpha. Okay, so we just go B key and alright. Fine. Now, I guess one could argue that a second shadow layer, just like this, just to dial in the overall illumination a little better, would be probably prudent. So there we go. So now we've got our that guy in there, and let's go ahead and put in a final layer. Let's do it like that and see if we like it, because I'm actually thinking I don't. I definitely don't like that. So, I mean, the perspective would be something like that. And so, yeah, I think that's okay. Just anchors him a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is actually just create a bit of foliage noise. So, not too bad. Okay, so there's Mr. Legs, and there's Mr. Fire, and so it's Luca that we need to deal with. Let's go ahead and create a shadow layer, SHD, inherit alpha, and what I'm going to say is on the first shadow layer, the obvious thing to do is going to be to simply put the shadow on Luca alone, and this shadow's too dense, by the way, but it doesn't look too bad. Actually, that's wrong. Duh. The shadow would be on the top. Okay, sorry guys. Major stupid attack right there. Major stupid attack. Okay, yeah, that actually looks kind of cool. Let's go to normal size just so we can see how flawed it really is, and we can see that indeed it is somewhat flawed. But actually, not too shabby, folks. Not too shabby. Okay, so let's dial that down a little bit. I like it. Okay, as long as we're here, let's put a shadow behind Luca. So we're going to go like this. Basically, we're just going to go like that. And then what we'll do is we'll use this to erase back into it. And then we'll give it a little bit of that noise. Okay, so that anchors Luca to the ground. That's all that's doing. Okay. Let's save our work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to deal with Monkey's shadow, and then we'll deal with Monkey's cast shadow. So we're going to call this Monkey SHD. Again, inherit alpha, we'll go 50%, and just dive right in with a shadow here just to see what happens. And I'd say it's a little aggressive. So let's go put in a key. Yeah, it's a bummer that I gotta put in so many animation keys, but yeah, that's the price you pay if you want to animate this stuff. So I think, yeah, we'll just let him have a insert, boom. I'm going to actually make my brush bigger so I can really be bold with it. I want to keep these shadows simple. Insert, like so. Because remember, he's moving fast here, folks. We just want to capture the feeling. That key is without a doubt questionable, but that's all right. And I'm going to have him, whoops. Okay, that's, got to be careful here because of Luca. Okay, and let's just insert one more key there, and we'll leave that one as it is. And I think we'll put that little bit of shadow there. And I'm going to save my work just in case things go haywire here, because I can see that Krita needs to cache the animation. Okay, right there. Boom, boom, boom. So it's right there. Okay, so we'll insert a key there. And I think that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, just a little hint of the light from the fire there. Okay, so now we need to deal with Monkey's cast shadow, right? And this one should be even simpler. This is going to be Monkey cast shadow. And we want, okay. And we'll go ahead and stick a key in here. And actually, come to think of it, this would not be alpha locked. I mean, it would not be inherit alpha. Insert, boom, insert, boom, insert. Hey, I think that belongs there. Insert, insert, and then I believe it was 60. We'll insert a key there. Just kind of put some noise here. A little bit of a cast shadow situation. We can turn this down to 50% opacity. Is probably not too bad. And I actually think the shot might be done, folks. Let's see. The only thing that's a little bit bugging me here, I need to go down through my layers and see where this pencil sky. It's in the fire layer. Oh, that kind of stinks. Oh my gosh. That really stinks. That stinks. Because, well, that's a pretty big boo-boo. However, that's the bad news. Oh my gosh, the really bad news is it animates. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is you know, a mistake on my part, the likes of which is so extreme that if I had an employee that made this mistake and they did it more than once, it'd be like I'd probably fire their asses. Okay, so because this is so amazingly stupid and it's completely my fault. I'm the stupid one. It's downright embarrassing, actually, how I could have done something so dumb. So one question we can ask ourselves is the problem actually noticeable? Unfortunately, it looks like it is. Yeah, look at all that. Okay, well, the best probably way to fix it is going to be with a type of patch. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to, I'm kind of thankful that Luca doesn't really move around. So what I should be able to do here is create a little bit of a patch in the fire zone. That's just going to be a static image, and we're going to see how much we can get away with here. Okay. Right there. So here we're going to have to go put in a patch. So, you know, if you can just have one static frame that hides your stupid mistake, then that's better than having to do a bunch of redrawing. Right there. Yeah, I have a feeling once this is done, you're not going to really see the glitch. So I'm just going to keep going forward, and I'm not concerning myself with tracking the animation at all, because all we actually need is this one static drawing that's just covering stuff up, covering up the ugly. Like I said, I'm lucky that nothing else in the shot really moves. So we got a little bit of noise right up here, up top. So again, all this is doing is actually just adding to the one static frame. This is the drawing that I'm creating. And in fact, I'm even going to patch over. You can see right here it's interfering with this guy. Now, it could be argued actually that we could cheat in that technically, since the fire did get moved and it doesn't pass in front of him, it should be the case that his legs can actually be in front, even though they're really not. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. I think okay, well, no, I didn't quite fix it. You can see the hiccup there at the top, but that's okay. This I can fix. I think I can fix this pretty easily. Okay, you can see it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this brush, Okay. Sorry, I just did something equally as stupid, which was I continued working on my patch literally in the wrong layer. Once again, in the wrong layer. Okay, this is where I want to be. Okay. So I'm hoping that if the noise in the background is this is really gonna be yes, I did it. Yeah, so you can actually see the loop, but the whole thing loops. So I think we're okay. Other than a little bit at the bottom. So my apologies, YouTubers, because this is a pretty silly mistake to have made, but boom, right there it is. Boom. Okay, so right here we're gonna go like this. And I'm just gonna patch that baby up. Patchy, patchy, patchy poo. Crazy, huh? Crazy, crazy. Silly mistake. And I hope I don't get this fix done and then realize that that's introduced some additional artifacts that I didn't take into account. And honestly, it kind of did. So I'm gonna just take a little bit more liberty with the scumbling on my fire pit, because it was getting a little too aggressive. Okay, that probably looks okay. So let me see. Yeah, I think we're okay. And actually, let's save that. And now I think I would even, in this patch layer, I'm gonna call this fire patch. I'm actually gonna let's grab the pencil. Really just kind of feel this. Just want to get a little bit of noisy messiness in there. Okay, save our work, and I believe our shot is complete. Gee guys, I can't take him anywhere. Boink boink. Yeah, it's gonna be boink boink. Cool. And that's it. There will be more later.